Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
I mean, there are so many religions here. It's just mainly a lot of mainly Islam and Christianity seems to be fighting here every week about who's got it right and who's got it wrong. Basically,
what if both had parts of the truth? What if you can't say one is wrong and one is right? What if you said, these are the good truth in Christianity, here's the truth in Islam?
I think that's the same in any walk of life.
Do you think that's fair?
I think that's the same in any walk of life anyway. I think if you're in any walk of life, whether it's religion, take religion out for a minute, just by me having a conversation with you about something that we had a common ground on, which might not have anything to do with you being a Sikh and me not being particularly religious or whatever. We may have a middle ground, something we're interested in. And we might have part truth in our discussion, so we'll understand both sides of the story. But the issue for me with religion is that what I see is, and I suppose we do sort of huddle it all together, is there's so many conflicting views called in the name of the truth. So if you say the word truth, if it was the truth, we'd all know it. Why are you arguing over it?
That word truth is the part of the problem. I wouldn't say that truth is the problem. It's when you start saying truth is exclusive to faith.
Right.
So we've got an inclusive idea. So there's the truth, and then there's bits of the truth everywhere. It's like, okay, let's say you were a PhD in maths. So you knew maths. But you know that GCSE book has got maths. You know that the A-level books have got maths.
Of course, yeah.
In China, America, Canada, everywhere.
Yeah.
So you got a higher level maths.
Yeah.
Right? That's how we see the truth in that sense. Everybody's got bits of it.
Yeah. I mean, if you talk to the Muslims here, the Muslims think they have got it completely wrapped up, and everybody else is wrong.
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I suppose
You sound like you don't agree with it. I don't agree.
I might be the quite interesting view because I would class myself as a very secular British person.
Right.
I don't really lean towards any faiths at all.
Okay.
I have in my family a Judaic and Christian background, which is a bit confusing.
Right.
So I come from a sort of Jewish bloodline, but I have Church of England in my family, and I was schooled in a Church of England school.
Right.
So I can actually read. I can read Hebrew.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Talk Hebrew. But I can also tell you all about the body and blood of Christ. I can tell you all about the New Testament, the Old Testament. But am I actually a God believer? Probably not. Now this is quite amazing. So my view on it will be fairly secular, but I'm open-minded. What I'm saying is I'm not an atheist. I'm not an atheist.
Okay.
Where I'm coming from, you asked me where I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from is that I think probably if you're going to label someone, and this is what I'm saying, I suppose I'd probably fall in the agnostic camp quite a bit because I can't prove that there is or isn't a supreme being. The thing I have with all these issues is to me they look like man-made written texts, and therefore I always get the problem with the higher deity above the books. I can see the books and I can see the historic issues of these books, but I don't get the God bit. That's where I don't get it.
Do you know what the Sikhs say? We don't say believe in God.
Yeah.
We say experience God.
Yeah, it makes more sense if you can experience something.
Right. So then
it's real to you.
What you're talking about now with the agnosticism, that problem of having proof or faith in something, right? It gets solved because you've now experienced the being that you're talking about. So the Guru is trying to get us to meditate on God.
But my experiences of life are only 55 years, okay?
Yeah.
So I was born in this city like 55 years ago. I was born in 1960 here, in October 1960, over there in Welbeck Street.
Right.
So my experience of this world relates to who I've interacted with. Well, I'm lucky I've travelled a lot. I haven't just stayed here. And I've been all over the world. I've been to all sorts of Hindu, Muslim countries. I've been all over the world. So I've experienced all that firsthand. But obviously I have a British upbringing, and my country of birth and my country of living.
Leaving that aside, but
that's my experience of life.
But what about your experience of God?
Well, I don't have an experience of God, other than what I have a man-made experience of God, which is I've seen what a bar mitzvah is.
That's religion. No, we're talking about God.
Well, I don't have an experience of God because.
Have you ever meditated?
No, I mean, have I listened to music, which gives me a spiritual feeling? Yes, because if you actually think about it, if I listen to rock music, I was a real rock music fan. Well, anybody who's a rock music fan, in effect, had a spiritual thing because that was the spirit within the music.
Right.
But they didn't necessarily go to a higher deity of a god, but that in effect was almost like a mystical relaxation.
See, I was quite into my music when I became a Sikh as well. I was like the Hip Hop Society president.
Yeah, so you're the hip hop man, I'm the rock man, so which means you're much younger than me, which is good for you. You've got longer to go here.
But here's the question, right? When I was sitting there in music, I felt like, I'm having something here. But when I first meditated, I was lucky. I had that experience there and then. Many people have to work hard, Whatever. For me, it's just the right time.
So what sort of experience did you have
It was
this
an
God? Can you
experience.
explain it, or is it?
Yeah, it's very similar to what most people talk about in mystical experiences.
Yeah.
So basically, the first happened to me is I felt totally absorbed by this massive being.
Right.
Yeah, I felt like I was only a little dot in a very big thing.
Well, we are, I think. Yeah.
And then
Makes
I
sense.
felt this love. It's hard to talk about it because the Guru says actually you're explaining sugar to somebody, a mute person explaining sugar to someone.
But it seems to have made you a placid individual by what I can see. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying you don't have a temper, but we all have tempers. But I'm saying
Yeah.
you seem like a placid.
Well, we're quite chilled out Sikhs.
Yeah.
Because you know when you meditate and you experience God,
Yeah.
you get filled with bliss. So
Yeah.
the Guru
Yeah.
does describe a few ways.
Yeah.
One thing to talk about is bliss. So you become very blissful.
Yeah.
Also, the qualities of God get rub
Yeah.
off on you. Because
Yeah.
let's say every day you hung out with somebody who's very successful.
Right.
You're more likely to start thinking like a successful person. You get more sensible.
But that's human interaction with other human beings,
But
isn't
when we
it?
start to hang out with God, some
Yeah.
of the qualities of God start rubbing off on us. One of the qualities that God has
Right.
is very compassionate, very caring, very
Right.
loving.
See, this is where
So-
I don't have an issue. I have, I don't know, because to me, all the things you're talking about, the mystical, you're talking about the experiences you've had, to me are great. Don't get me wrong, I think they're great. But what they are to me are they're because of your human interaction with humans. So, for example, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a big example. Yesterday, 90-odd thousand people went to Wembley to see this FA Cup final. Okay, hang on a second.
Okay, it was yesterday.
Hang on, yeah. So you might laugh at this, but it's not. There's 95,000, and I've been to those Wembley finals because I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm a season older, 47 years, right? So when you say like a spiritual time thing, I know I'm not trying to debase it. I'm trying to be real. From a human perspective, when the ball hit the back of this netting yesterday, half of the stadium erupted into euphoria. There's a human reaction of euphoria.
Yeah.
Now, people almost react that way, but that's a human interaction because of a football match. It's basically just a man kicking a ball past somebody into a piece of netting. But it sends a chain reaction that probably means they came out on the streets in Manchester, they're going on open-top bus parades today over it, and they're holding a piece of silver, right? Now, to me, somebody could argue, well, that was their spiritual moment. Do you get me? Because they had a physical reaction to something they were watching, which gave them that feeling for a minute of euphoria. For that, I've done it myself. For that 10 seconds when you score the winning goal in a cup final, you forget about your work problems, your family. Think about it, and you escape with it. And all of a sudden, you're friends with all these
But you're
people.
basically saying what I've many things, what I've felt many times. That football is a modern religion. You know why?
Right,
Because I'll tell you why, yeah? Because you know when you're in a crowd...
But that's a human interaction, that's what I'm saying.
If you look at all religions,
Yeah.
they try and put you in... They try to put you with other people.
Yeah.
Like, so congregation, isn't it? It's part of all religions.
Yes.
Because the thing is,
Yeah.
we're all souls, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? So let's give you the scientific. We're all souls, and then everybody's got a soul. And those souls are in a sort of like a... Well, you might not agree with them, I'm just giving you my scientific.
Yeah, that's all.
So when we all we're sort of aligned in a way, and that energy becomes very powerful.
Yeah.
Like even at a planetary level, okay, if we start to increase our level of understanding of life at a planetary level, that will improve everybody's education. It will improve everybody's, like, even like the modern Enlightenment period when people start to think in a certain way and care about individuals' rights and stuff. That's now spread across the world in a way because of the energy works that way. So me and you in a crowd, with everybody thinking the same way, it amplifies that.
Correct.
Right? It amplifies that.
But that's a human interaction with
But
humanity.
But when you meditate, okay, if when I look at mystics across the world, whether they're Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Sikhs, yeah, they all have a very similar sort of experience, yeah, about this bliss, about this joy. And when I say bliss, I mean like when I was younger, I used to smoke weed. And you get high.
I smoked weed when I was younger because in the rock scene you did this.
Right, so yeah.
I've done it for about 30 years.
And the hip hop scene.
In the
as well.
1970s,
As you
used
know,
to go,
yeah. Right, so now when you get high.
It's not new, these things.
If you get high,
Yeah.
you get bliss.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Right,
that's true, yeah.
now I can get that more from meditation. Every morning I can get, so you know when you say like somebody smoking weed is quite chilled out, they normally are, innit? So what if I was doing that every morning? Wouldn't I be quite chilled out?
Yeah, but you see, for me, I don't have an issue with what you're saying because you, as a living spiritual being, whatever you feel, well, whatever our brains are saying to us, that's what I'm trying to say, is that with other religions, I have an issue when they're telling me the truth or they're trying to dogma it, okay?
Okay, yeah.
What you're
Dogma is a very dangerous
What
thing,
you
isn't
seem to be doing is trying to maybe explain a bit and whatever. But you are clearly having an experience that I have absolutely no right to say is wrong, right, whatever, because I've got no conflict with you. Because your experience, if I go and meditate to my God and I believe in that, is good for me because it makes you a nice person. I ain't got an issue with that. However, you would probably then understand the football metaphor. You would then understand me in the 1970s, laying down on the floor with the Pink Floyd album on in my headphones, and going off into another place, correct? Without, not always with the buzz, but without it. Yeah, so in other words, but that also, so when you said to her, have I ever had a spiritual moment, I'd be wrong to say no, I haven't. But that spirituality is still within a physical mode because of the music or whatever.
While we're alive, isn't it? You say physical mode, it's while we're alive.
But the issue for me, the only issue I have with any type of probably faith belief that believes in heavens or afterlives, and most of the religions seem to have this, is that maybe it's too literal, but it's the way I look at it. I've come into this world in 55 years. I've got 55 years here. I've experienced who I've met. Like every time I come here, I met you today. I haven't met you before. Okay, it's nice. So I meet new people. I've travelled the world. To me, I didn't know anything about this world whatsoever before 1960. And about 1962, I can see myself in a cot in my bedroom, which is quite funny, which I actually can see this now. I've been here 55 years. I think this is an experience I'm being given as a physical working body structure with a brain.
Do you only rely upon what you know?
Well, when I die, I don't know. I can't say I know when you die because that'd be ridiculous. But I believe when we die is that the most logical thing from what I've seen, the way the human body rots away and dies and whatever, from my point of view, it looks like that experience is over for you and you go back to where you were before you were born. So you have no cognitive response of your being. In other words, your being then breaks down, the body breaks down, the brain rots, the head rots, the skin, you're left with bone or whatever, a base of skeletal structure. And therefore, whatever's making me work today doesn't function anymore, and therefore my cognitive response in this world ends. So literally at the day of death, you go back to where you were before you were born, which is not knowing anything.
If you were, what's your name?
Ian.
Ian, right.
Nice to meet you.
You know, Ian, like I said, we're not here to convert you.
No.
So, the answer I'll give you now, try to think.
Which is why I'm happy to listen.
Yeah, the answer I'm giving you now, I would give to a Sikh who asked me that question.
Right.
Because there's many Sikhs who've been brought up and not been taught much about their faith. Because they haven't been taught much about their faith, they sort of become a little bit atheist. In that sense, they're agnostic. They don't know much about it.
Is it interaction with the modern world with them, do you think, here as well? That
I end up talking to them all the time, yeah. So
the modern world here has probably affected the Sikh faith here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I teach people all the time,
Yeah.
and so I end up interacting with people who are asking me very similar questions.
Yeah.
What I will say to them is, listen, if there was a creator, and you seem to be open to the idea, because
something must have started, because I don't know what.
So what he would do is try to get us to, because let's say I'm having that experience right now, and it's so blissful.
Right.
And if I was to meet you, I would say, listen, Ian, go for it. Have that experience too. It's beautiful. You love it.
Yeah.
It's just like your mate who enjoyed going skydiving would come and tell you, mate, you should go skydiving.
I've done it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well.
It's exciting.
But mostly you did it because you watched someone doing it, and they came back and told you they were having fun, and you thought, I'll have a go at that. Yeah, I want to do something fun. So the thing is we don't just live within our own experience. We live in the experience also in a bit of people we trust.
Well, we live, that we know. What they call it altruistically, don't we, in other people's lives.
Yeah, well, it's interconnected, right?
Yeah.
It's interconnected. So like when you were little, you were taught these are the things you can eat.
Yeah.
And that's it. But then you went out traveling and you saw other human beings eating other foods. Yeah. And you thought, I could eat that as well. Like when I was in China, I ate something terrible that I wouldn't probably eat now, but it's like cockroaches, cicada.
Well, the British would.
It looks like cockroaches.
The British wouldn't touch curry.
I'll have a go.
The British wouldn't touch curry here in the 1960s. Now it's the most popular
food. The Chinese were eating it, and I thought, you know what, I'll have a go as well. I'll eat it as well. Yeah.
Is that the British with curry?
Right.
That's what happened to us.
So now. So because we interact with people, we take recommendations, people tell us what they like, what we like, so we end up learning more. So if God was here, if there was a creator, that creator would try and send you people that would try to give you a way to connect to the creator. If you could connect, if there was a possibility for us to connect, then they would try and tell you, you know what, you should connect, that's good for you. So that's what we believe is the purpose of human life. The purpose of human life is to live as a good person, and also to experience God. Not believe, experience God. That's what we believe is the purpose of life. So the gurus, they are like those guys that we trust. When they came here, they lived very good lives. Yeah? Every Sikh, whether they believe in God or not, knows about the gurus and they trust the gurus, that they were good people. And they didn't do anything for themselves, they did it for other people. They were very altruistic, they gave a lot. They even died to save other people's religions.
So let me ask you a question.
Guru,
as you're here, I want to ask you a question. I'm asking you a question.
can I finish my point though?
Yeah.
Because you can understand. So you know what a Sikh, when I say to a Sikh, like what you just said to me now, I would say, listen, I'm not asking you to believe in God. But if you study the gurus and you believe in the gurus, start with believing in the gurus. And the gurus, they did such amazing things, 10 of them in line, that a Sikh intrinsically starts to believe in the gurus that they were good people. Then, if you believe in a person that they were good, you trust them, and you say, what did they say? What did they say?
What were the gurus? Were the gurus like prophets in these other religions?
No, they weren't like prophets.
So what were the gurus
then?
then?
The gurus did speak the words of God, but they also were like the embodiment of God for us here.
It's a bit like they say Jesus was the embodiment of God on earth.
But they say he was the only embodiment. You see, it becomes exclusivism. Exclusivism. We believe that God is more like like every soul is the light of God. Some souls aren't enlightened and some souls are. The fully enlightened soul starts to become a representation of God upon earth because they become fully enlightened.
Right, I understand. So you're doing it by an enlightened...
By purification.
By enlightenment. These people have enlightenment and therefore almost have the right to be the gods.
Because they reflect God in the same way because the ego has been
So
taken
what is your God in your religion? What is your God compared with the other God? What is your God?
The one creator who made everything.
So are we believing in the same God here as the Abrahamic God? Are we the Judaic God?
There's slight differences. Firstly, there are differences in theology, but there's reincarnation.
Oh, that's it.
It's still the one creator.
Right.
That doesn't. If you're Christian or Sikh, it doesn't make a difference if you believe in the one God. If you don't believe in reincarnation.
So you believe in reincarnation?
Yeah, we do believe.
Right.
But
Okay.
let me just go back to the point I was saying earlier about faith. So the Guru, he gives us a system of how to connect to God, of how to experience God.
Right.
So you start believing in the Guru that he's a good person. Next, you start to believe that his teachings must be good. Then you start to practice those teachings.
Right.
And it's a science of connecting. Then you connect to God. And you go, oh man, it works. So it's a bit like a fitness instructor comes up to you and says, look at me, I'm fit. And you think, oh yeah.
So what you're saying is,
he goes, follow me, I'll teach you.
Sikhism is going to give me the way to find God.
It's going to give you a way to experience God. One of those words that you just find God. God is more than just finding God. Like I found God 16 years ago, but it doesn't mean that that's it, it's all over. I found a way to purify myself and find the truth inside
So
me.
you think you'll be reincarnated when you die?
Yeah, I believe that.
And what do you think happens to you when you die?
Okay, we believe that when we die, we get judged on our actions.
Similar to others, yeah.
Not just our actions, though. Our thoughts and our words. And they get judged, and then from that, we get like, let's say you came here with a job to do, like an account book. You come here with an account to fulfill, yeah?
Yeah.
So, but the account is so big, you can't spend all that money. Like some millionaires nowadays, they're so rich, they can't spend all the money because the interest is gathering up so much so quickly, they can never spend it. So, we will come with a massive account book, and then what we can spend in this life, right? But while we're spending, we're also earning, right? At the end of our life, we end up with money we've spent, money we've earned, and the big account book.
Which means nothing when you die, as far as I'm concerned.
And you die,
yeah.
you then
That's
get...
it.
No. When you die, then the next life is chosen in conjunction with you and God. You're chosen because you want to still work out.
In your
karma.
physical being, though, on this earth, and what you've seen of the world, and what we're seeing now, standing here in Hyde Park today, and everything, is there any thought that would ever come into your mind that the opposite view may be true as well, that this is literally just an experience that our bodies and our minds are having for 40, 50, 60, 100 years, and then we literally go back to where we were the day before we were not knowing anything?
The thing is, every morning I
do you see a logic of that?
I can't see a logic of how people can see that because there's no proof of the obvious to them. They haven't seen a proof of it. But when we start to meditate, we start to experience that. For example, I've experienced that I'm separate from my body. That I can separate from my body. That my soul is not my body.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So now you start to realise, actually, I'm not my body.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I've met other people that have meditated and that have had even more amazing experiences. Yeah. So when I start to see, like, and I'm not mad, the system that I'm doing, what I'm meditating, it works for other people. Same thing, but they just be doing it for longer with more focus. Then I start to understand, actually, I'm just like a guy who's trying to get fit. There's all these people that are already fit and ahead of me. And what they're saying about the body makes sense because they've tried it and tested it. So when I look at reincarnation, it makes sense to me because the gurus talked about it and I trust it. other people that have meditated have talked about that they've seen. Some people meditate and they get to see their previous lives.
What makes you trust the gurus so much then?
Okay.
I think it's a fair question because you're really putting your faith in the guru.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in what makes you really want to believe that.
It comes down to why I would trust anybody. First I meet them and I judge them on how they are as a person.
Right.
Then I see what they tell me and I try and test that as well, see if it works. So the guru, their lives themselves were so amazing. I'll give you a couple of examples because you don't know much about the gurus, right?
Obviously I've heard of a guru, but I don't know as much about it. This is why I'm interested.
There's 10 of them. Yeah. The first guru was only 500 years ago.
Oh, right.
So we have a lot of history of them.
So we're going back 1500,
Yeah,
the time of Henry VIII.
They were born in 1469,
right.
And he lived for about 70, 80 years.
Right.
Okay.
Which guru was he? What was his name?
Guru Nanak Dev Ji.
Guru Nanak.
The first guru. He gave the guruship to the next guru.
Right.
And then it went from that next guru to the next guru until it went to 10 gurus. They chose success.
Why did he only appear 500 years ago? Explain that.
Well, okay, so the question you're coming from there is the idea that how come they didn't come earlier?
Yeah, that's what it's.
Okay, yeah. So that's a very common question. What I would say is that God sent many people upon earth to come and tell the truth. And a lot of them came here with the truth, but then after a little while, their ego got involved and they fluffed it. They kind of became about them and less about the truth.
So they became human basically and made a muck up.
So then 500 years ago, God decided, right, enough is enough. I have to give the real, give the complete truth to people. When I say the real truth, it's not exclusive in that sense. The complete truth to the whole mankind. So Guru Nanak Ji came to give us the complete truth. Yeah? And then all of them, in the 10 lines, how they lived was so amazing. Like, you know, for example, the 9th Guru, just the 9th Guru, he sacrificed his life to save the freedom of the Hindus to practice their religion. So you got another faith being persecuted by another faith. And the Guru stepped in and he gave his life to save their freedom to practice their faith.
Because
that's an amazing example.
It was quite amazing in the era of, we go back in like the music era. If you go back to the 1960s when the Beatles went into that area, didn't they? And their music went into that era.
Right. Became a little
which
bit
was interesting because I suppose for them as music writers, they converted from "I want to hold your hand" to they moved into that mystical genre of music, didn't they? Which obviously was very faith-driven at the time.
But the thing is,
it was actually very brilliant, actually.
It's about the experience, isn't it? So, like I said, first I read about the gurus and I'm impressed by their lives.
Yeah.
Then I read their writings and they make a lot of sense to me. Then I started to practice their path. Sorry about that. Practice their path, and I experienced it to become true. I started to experience the bliss they're talking about when I meditate. I started to experience the joy of singing God's praises. I started to experience that everybody's got that experience, and they're all true. And they're not, you have to become. And I started to feel myself part of humanity, and I started to feel that truth, and I think, you know what? This is the truth. It's real. It works.
Well, you seem very, very happy with it, which is refreshing. And I've never had any issues with any Sikh people. I've met quite a few in my time. I don't have any problem with Sikhs because the fact that I see it as a meditationary type issue for me.
And good action.
Doesn't worry.
It's not just about.
I mean, everybody I've met who's ever a Sikh always seems very honourable people. I don't have any issue with them. They're not trying to dogma me.
I'll give you a quote.
Which is why
I'll give you a nice quote that you
I can respect you for what you do.
I'll give you a 2-line quote, right? The Guru says. He says the best religion amongst all religion is just to live pure actions and meditate upon God's name.
Right.
That is the best.
But the best way to be religion, I believe, is to have your own religion within your own feelings.
But the thing here is, right, let's say, Ian, you're going.
And that's why I jokingly said to you, you're trying to sell this. Because if you're trying to sell it, that's where I think the problem is.
Let's say in your day, you're walking around and you're doing as much as you can with your 55 years of experience.
Yeah.
Based on what you've learned as well.
But obviously I'm trying to look beyond it, but I didn't experience it. I have the time to rely on things. Yeah.
You and I have got role models in our lives, innit? People we've read, whether they're politicians or musicians or writers. We've all got role models.
Yeah.
So all I'm doing is in my life, I'm adding 10 role models.
I get it.
Right? Not just them 10, but we're all good as Sikhs as well.
I get it.
And they've set such good examples, it helps me to be a better person.
Well, you seem to be a good person. I also read people.
I'm not a good person. I'm trying to be a good person.
You seem to be a good person.
Well, I'm trying to be a good person. However,
depends how you define good.
If you added them 10 to your life, that you converted, I feel that anybody would benefit from this. No matter what religion they are, they would benefit. And I've met many people who are Christian, who now come to Gurdwara, and they serve food. You know about the free food, right? So we give free food to anybody.
Yeah, I heard, yes, I remember the
So just
you give free food, yeah, I know, I saw this, yeah.
We thought, you know what, not many people are coming to us
I have
to
heard
get
about
free
this,
food.
yeah.
They're not coming to us to get free food, so we started to give it away to people as well on the streets. So now, 3 times a week in London, people come out in the streets.
But I think there's basic, like you say, which is one, go back to the very first comments you were making to me, is that I've always tried to keep myself fairly free-minded on this, and that's why I'm very happy to listen to you and talk to you and try and work out if there's any common ground here. There sort of is in a way, because maybe the music past has the meditation I understand, you know, because I really was into that era, and I understand I've got great music knowledge, I'm very lucky. I've got a musical family, I can play instruments, we're a very musical family, and it goes right back. So for me, I suppose music in some way has been a therapy for me, because it's the greatest way to escape from the lunacy world we live in. But so you've gone a different route and I'm going this way, but there are sort of common grounds, because a lot of music has had, like if you look at the certain, I know there's very famous Sikh musicians and that sort of music that's come from.
He was part of the rock crew.
So I can see
his
that.
name was, he became Vikram Singh. He was a white guy that converted to Sikhism, but before that he was a...
Wasn't there Shankar? Was it Ravi Shankar?
He wasn't Ravi Shankar.
There was Ravi Shankar, was
Ravi
it?
Shankar wasn't a Sikh.
No, he wasn't a Sikh, was he? He was a Hindu.
There was a guy who was a famous Sikh. He was one of the first few non-Punjabi people to Kirtan in the Golden Temple. But he's, I can't remember his name right now, but if you Google him, Vikram Singh, he was a famous rocker.
So your holy site is the Golden Temple at Amritsar?
One of the most holy,
yeah.
It's not like we don't have like we must.
Because I've just realised I have been to a Sikh temple. Because I just realised I have been to the Golden Temple in Amritsar.
It's not like Mecca in the sense that you must go there.
I've been to India.
It's not like we've got a Hajj, but
of course I have,
for us, it's a place where
I have been there.
We can connect to the Guru, because the Guru used to live there. He made it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
What's interesting about that place is it was made by the Guru, right?
I can see the place now on the banks of the river.
If you make a place that you build yourself, architecturally you put some thinking into it. The Guru made the Golden Temple in a way with 4 doors, made it open to everybody, so it's welcoming. He made langar there every day. 100,000 people eat food there for free.
So you made one point before, because I'm going to move on, but I understand because you may want to move on to other people. The issue for me, you made a very good point at the beginning, which was in each of these ideologies or rhetorics or whatever we want to talk, or text or whatever, let's call it that for a minute. Even humanism, even there are good and bad. Right?
100%.
So I can see the good sides in what you're showing. There's probably more good in what I'm talking to you about than a lot of others. And there's also in Islam, to be fair, there's some morals there's morals that make sense. Drinking, I can also say I can understand. Even in Judaism, there's certain good morals in it. In Christianity, there is, but they seem to, unfortunately, wrap it up in very bad issues as well. And I think that maybe where I see Sikhism sitting in that is it's a public but a private religion. So in other words, it's a religion where these people will get something from a meditation or something for them good. So if you want to believe in these 10 gurus or whatever they are, and you believe that they give you what's needed, but it makes you a better person, then who would I, as a non-believer, say that's the wrong thing?
This is the reason why we
How would I
prosper
say that's the wrong thing? I couldn't say it's the wrong
Sikhs
thing.
prosper everywhere because we don't go
If
out
somebody
and
comes to me and says you must change because you're going to eternal hell, then I have a problem.
So we don't do that.
Because they can't prove the hell to start with. So you see the issue,
So
interesting.
now you get like, that's why it's
But why are you pushing this today?
why
Why are you here today doing
We're
this?
just here to raise awareness because people don't know about Sikhs.
So who are you trying to talk to Sikhs yourself, or are you talking to like?
We're talking to anybody because anybody can be a Sikh.
Yeah.
You don't have to be brown. You can be a Sikh. A lot of white people are Sikhs. My wife's white. She's
Yeah, I'm not about brown and white. I mean, they're all humans.
But you remember, like,
there's white Jamaicans, isn't there?
you know, like me and you were talking, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be a Sikh like this. We've got a YouTube channel. Yeah? I don't know if they told you that.
I'm sure you have got a YouTube channel. The whole world's got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, true. So here's our YouTube channel. Basics
I love this one.
This is
always
the message.
Yeah, always have a look.
About that we can connect to God from here. What the gurus did, something about the scripture, our Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the music, the free food. That's what we do.
I mean, the music to me is a major link, I think.
Music is very spiritual.
You're trying to get into the young people.
The gurus just try to use music as a boat for the message.
Yeah.
So when you connect through music, you're already tuned in to a certain spiritual feeling. And then they put the words on top. And the words are wrote poetry. So when you sing the poetry in the music, you connect a lot quicker. It's not about giving somebody a dry...
Well, it's like some of those rock bands
help
quoted things from things like Edward Allan Poe, they think from Byron and all this, and some of the words in there are actually...
connected to songs like, imagine,
Yeah.
They connected to that. And it changed their thinking.
Yeah.
The Guru wants us to connect to God.
Stairway to heaven and all these type of things. Yeah.
The Guru is not here for Sikhs, he's not here to just keep it for himself.
Right.
We believe that this religion, people would want to go into it if they knew about it.
Yeah.
So one duty we do have is to encourage people to learn about it. Another duty that we have as a Sikh, is also that we should be encouraging people who are not even Sikhs to meditate. So let's say somebody's a Christian, they don't have to convert to Christianity, to Sikhism. They can stay a Christian, they can meditate. We're here to encourage meditation.
So if I was to follow this plan, for example, what are you as a Sikh hoping that I would experience?
Well, you feel the bliss of God when you connect, when you meditate. Every person, every religion has ever meditated.
So would it be similar to when I was listening to a rock track at the 1970s, when I feel that sort of...
I'd believe it'd be more intense, because God is cooler than rock.
Is it as good as sex? No, seriously, as good as an orgasm?
Better
than an orgasm. That's interesting.
Better.
Yeah, interesting.
The joy of all of this is so intense, intense that people have been in that joy. They said, I can't compare it to anything. I can't compare it to anything. It's better than anything upon earth. Okay? The best experience you can ever have is connecting to God. Okay, so it's an immensely enjoyable, but also it's the real experience that we came here for. Like our human existence starts to make so much sense when we connect with the Creator that we made us. Because you're going back home. It's like a child that forgot his parents when it was young.
So if you followed the Sikh religion, I'm going to call it a religion for me, if you followed the Sikh faith or whatever you want to call it, or the process of, like you're saying, because you're obviously giving out these leaflets which explains a process or whatever, then what you're hoping for me, maybe as a secular person, or maybe agnostic or whatever, is that I will suddenly experience this bliss of God by going down that road.
Well, if you experience that bliss of God, you would yourself come and take me. You say, oh, cheers, mate. But even if you don't experience that bliss as a Sikh, you might end up experiencing that bliss as a Christian. And for me, that's not a problem because there's only one God. I'm not competing with other religions. There's only one God, right? Also, if you become a better person, if you start to help people, then that's a good thing, isn't it?
But what I'm saying is that the life I live at the moment, I mean, very difficult to what they always say, self-emulation is no recommendation, right? So I'm not going to say you're the greatest. So how can I stand here and say I'm the greatest person ever? I'm not. We all have failings, but I wouldn't class myself as a bad person, really.
No.
I would class myself as a fairly charitable, kind person because of things I know I've done. Do I need a religion for that, or do I just need to improve my humanity to make myself that way?
Here's a question, right? You know, if you want a real answer,
because I've done some good things in my life.
If you want a real spiritual answer, I'll give you the true spiritual answer for this. The problem that we suffer from is called ego.
Yeah,
it's not ego in the sense of like ego in the sense of being proud.
Yeah.
It's a sense of I-ness. Because we're made of God, our essence is God, we start to think about ourselves all the time. So this I, me is the real problem. For a Sikh, the spiritual message is the real problem we all suffer from is I, me.
But how does
God... Hold on, let me finish it. Right. So, I, me is a problem, right? How do we get rid of this ego? So Guru gives us a solution to get rid of the ego. What we do is we surrender to the Guru.
Surrender to the Guru? But has the Guru got an ego?
No.
Right.
This is the key thing.
He could have, couldn't
he? The key thing.
The Guru
could
have an ego.
He doesn't. For us, I know it's a bit of a long-winded answer, but if someone says to me, why do I need a Guru? We actually have a leaflet on it called Why Do We Need a Guru? Right? And the thing is when you have a Guru, you start to submit to somebody bigger than you, in a way. And that's why Christ is good as a Guru, Buddha is good as a Guru, because people start to believe in this person who's more pure than they are. And they can give up their ego.
But isn't that the same with humanity in general? Like today, we look to the Queen, we look to Parliament, for example, we look to the Prime Minister, whether you like him or not. I know we still look at him as a higher level than us because we're giving him that position of governance.
Okay, you know in 300, at the end of that movie, 300.
So it's a human thing to do
that.
Have
you seen 300? At the end when they're sitting there fighting, and he goes, sir, it was an honour to die by your side. Yeah? They truly believe in that guy as a good guy. They followed him to death. So the Sikhs look at the Guru in the same way. We say, you know what, for me, like doing what you told me and possibly dying from it is a great honour. I'd hate to just disappoint you. But the thing is, the hard thing in life is to find a Guru that is perfect. That's the hard
So how many
part.
gurus are there?
There's 10 of them.
There's only 10.
Only
So
10.
it keeps the numbers down.
Yeah.
Well, these,
But
the,
it started in 1469 and they went through the
It's only
1708.
1400
It's only 500 years ago. But for us, they're so pure, they're so good. Everything they did was so.
This was the year 1400 they're talking about here.
Yeah,
Not like
Do you know
1400.
anything about the Sikhs? Do you know anything about the Sikhs?
Not really.
Where are you from? Okay, so the gurus, they kind of like, we're trying to spread the word of what they did, because not only because we think people would want to follow them, but also that they set a good example for society. Like one thing they didn't do is discriminate on the basis of religion. So they never said to somebody, oh, you're not a Sikh, so you're not good. Or you're a Muslim, so you're not bad. You're bad. You see what I mean? So they kept it human orientated, not religion orientated. Do you feel like one person is of one religion suddenly gets like a stamp that they're better than somebody of another religion? Or do you feel like the stamp of do you feel that stamp of a religion makes you a better person?
No. I believe humanity makes me a better person
Right,
if I know
that's
how
exactly
to.
what
If I know how to handle my humanity with other humans. So it's wrong for me to come up because I don't like what you're telling me. I just go and punch you on the chin and knock you out, isn't it? Well, I don't need a religion to tell me that. It seems like perfectly human logic to me that I wouldn't do that. I don't need someone to fear that I'm going to go to prison if I do that, because I wouldn't do it anyway. It's not in me.
It's not in you now, but look at the culture you're brought up in. It's not in you because you're in this culture. What if you were brought up in a different culture? Like we're lucky in a way in the West that we're brought up in a liberal culture. And that brings us closer to a way that we should behave, which is not to be fanatical and to be open-minded. But many people are brought up in cultures that are not so liberal, and then they grow up being quite fanatical. Do you agree with me? Across the world.
Well, there are fanatics all over the world.
But they get brainwashed sometimes into it, right?
But there's a lot of brainwashing. We're all brainwashing in something.
In a way, you're right. We're all
School
brainwashed.
teachers brainwash us in the face.
So if you and I were sitting here thinking, right, we want to make a better society, we want to make a better world, so then we would try, to make a society that was based upon the right principles. Yeah? So the gurus, they tried to do that physically. They didn't just leave it up to chance. They tried to make people that were good, not just up to chance. So one thing they did here is they set up this free food thing.
But did the gurus get their message from God?
Yes, 100%.
So again, they're like. So again, I've got.
They're like prophets in that
I've got
sense.
the God bit, okay, and that's the bit I always have the issue with. So the God for me is I get the man bit, I get the gurus bit, like I get the prophets bit and the rabbis and all that. What bit I cannot still get. Because if you said to me, I feel Ian that I'm going to be a guru because I feel I should teach you this is the right way you should live. I might tell somebody else, well that makes sense, and some of it doesn't, some of it does. So hang on a minute. And therefore I could think he's an intelligent guy, I quite like him, so I'll use him as a guru.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Well, the bit I got is that when someone tells me the reason I'm a guru is because something up there told me that gave me this message. I would more believe it if someone said I'm a human and I believe this is the way you should do something.
If I said to you God is up there, that would be wrong. Because you can see the satellite up
But they all seem to point up there.
But I know, but satellites are up there right now.
Yeah, they
They haven't
can't
found God.
They found it.
Right. So if I said to you, you said, that's not
Right, but God in there, again, is a personal issue to you. Hang on.
Yeah.
And it's part of your meditatory process within your humanity.
Yeah.
So I could say, when I heard that, going back to music, it's an important point I'm trying to make. I heard this brilliant track from the 1970s, Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here, whatever, and suddenly I'm going, oh, that really got me there. You couldn't have gone and gone, oh, that's like a God to me in there, right? But that's because it gave me a physical experience on me from hearing it.
to connect to your heart.
So I don't got no issue. We've all got separate experiences.
Deep down, we believe that every single person deep down has a light inside them. That is the light of God.
Right, but that's the light of what you call it God. So to me,
Well, yeah, the word God is a bit dangerous.
the
because
word God is a
has come with-
humanity-created word.
Yeah.
So therefore, we're suddenly deciding that as I keep saying, why don't we call it Bum Bum and La La? Why are we calling it God? We've just decided to label it.
God has no name, firstly. But you know when I'm talking to people
But
in
the
the
gurus
West,
talking sense, I wouldn't question in some respects of if they felt on a human context they were talking sense. But it's the bit, did they get a message really from God, or were they just men, clever men, telling you what to do?
okay.
And without that higher deity,
Well,
it's man's interaction with man again.
Like I said,
not saying it's wrong, but it's man's
the gurus
interaction
were
with
good
man.
people. But when we start to experience the truth of what they're saying, we connect with that one inside us and everywhere.
But we don't need the God bit. We can just connect with each other then.
No. But that good experience is Ian, you haven't had that experience in it, so I'm just talking to you on a straight level. I'm not being rude to you. I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying,
but
but
when
I
you
could
have
get
that
a very good
experience,
guru. I could get someone I class a guru
But-
who tells me something so brilliant that I go with it, and it improves my life. Hang on a minute, and I will rely on that person's word. That doesn't mean what the person's done is wrong or no. What I'm saying is done me good, but it's a human interacting with me, not a spirit. But if the person then said, I said, well, where did you get these ideas for? And they said, well, I've had human experiences, I've learned by mistakes, I've done things this way to improve my life, rather than, I got it from God, a God that I cannot identify with, is where this thing always falls down for me.
Here's so we'll finish off here.
Yeah, we will. Because I'm taking up. You might want to talk to somebody else.
The gurus, yeah, they said
We're gonna have our own
themselves.
television program in a minute.
The gurus said themselves they got it from God. Firstly.
Okay, that's
Second,
fine. I'm
yeah.
not saying they
Second,
didn't. I'm just
but-
saying
but-
I've got no proof that they got it from
I
God.
know. The second thing is that the system they told me, they showed us, was so good and so perfect and it works that I can't doubt because I know it works.
But they may not got it God. They might just be very clever people.
No.
It's possible, isn't it?
No, why would they lie? If there was
Human beings do this. I mean,
no,
you see
human
it in the
beings
world.
lie, but the people that what the gurus did, they didn't do anything worthy of a liar. So anyway, we'll leave it there.
I
Thanks
do
very much.
understand it.
Appreciate your time.
I do understand
Thanks very
it.
much.
Thank you very much.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ